Hey y'all, what's going on? Thanks for checking out this video. I appreciate it. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be doing a little walkthrough today of my 2023 Vexus 2080, the electronics we have set up, my batteries, all that stuff. I'm still waiting on a couple things to come in the mail, so it's not 100% ready, but this is just kind of like a little progress update of what I've done. If you watched my last video, the boat was completely bare, so this is kind of like a little update and a little glimpse as to how I'm going to have my boat set up for this year and the years to come, so y'all stick around. Okay, so on the front deck of my boat, I've got a Minn Kota 80-pound Ultrex, and then of course you can see I've got a TH Marine troll tamer, the troll jacket, and then I have a 9-inch HDS Live and a 9-inch Garmin, the Echo Map. I think it's a 93 SV or something, but what I'm using this for, my 9-inch lowrance, we're going to use it for waypoint, waypoint management, the navionics charts, and then traditional 2D. And of course, I'm going to have that linked to the back at the console. And then up front, of course, that right there is for my livescope. That's all I'm going to use that for. That's the sole reason it's there. If there's a tournament where I'm not going to be using livescope, I probably won't even have that graph on. But that's my setup in the front, and then I'll show y'all the graph mount I have because it's pretty neat. Like I said, just 80-pound Ultrex. Got the dual stack mount, got the lowrance and the Garmin, and then here's my transducer. That's the Garmin LVS 34 transducer that just came out, I believe, May last year, so 2022. So pretty new transducer, but that's how I've got it in the front. And I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the ground and show y'all what that mount looks like from the side. Okay, so I'm standing on the ground right now videoing this. So this is a mount that Vexus actually makes. When my boat was getting the warranty work done, I got them to put this mount on. I believe it costs like 180 bucks, if I can remember right. And it's just a mount that you put your brackets on, and you can see the brackets are on there. They look like at a crazy angle, but once you put your screens on, they actually wind up they look pretty good, even though this kind of looks crazy. Like you've got one bracket that's facing the front and then one that's tilted back, but once you get your mounts on there, or the graphs themselves on there, and get them twisted and lined up right, they actually look pretty good. But yeah, it's just a pretty cool little mount. And then I don't know if you'll be able to tell, it's got two holes, probably 1.5 inch hole, two of them to run your cables through. And if you do have this boat that I have, the cup holder, I could remove this black piece right here, and I may in the future, but for now it works out. Like I can't use the cup holder, but my cable can go in there, so, and it's not in a bind, so that works out pretty good. But then you can kind of see the back of it, here all it is a little wedge, a little triangle, and it's just a kind of convenient way to mount your graphs. And it is kind of expensive for what it is, but compared to other mounts that are similar, or to do a similar setup, it's pretty cheap. But that's how I've got my front set up with my lowrance Live and the Garmin, and of course, like I said, the LVS 34 transducer. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop in the back and show you what I've got at the console, and then I'll show you my battery box. Okay, so this right here is my view from the driver's seat. I have a 9-inch Humminbird Helix and a 9-inch HDS Live. So my lowrance, of course, is going to be linked to my one up front with an Ethernet cable. That way I can have waypoints, share trail, just share everything with these two units. That's what I'm going to be using most of my waypoint stuff on, and the navionics mapping. And this right here is mainly going to be for the Lake Master, as well as a little bit of 2D and some side scan. So that's how I've got these two set up right here on a Bass Boat Technologies mount that came on this boat when I got it. It's a long story short on this boat, but it's got the hull replaced by Vexus, so it's a 2023. But I have some other videos on my channel about that. But like I said, just got a Humminbird Helix and then the lowrance. I'm excited to use these together because they each kind of have their advantages and disadvantages. The lowrance is touchscreen. Of course, you've got navionics, C-map. Lowrance has really good waypoint management, all that stuff. And then the Humminbird, of course, you have Lake Master, you have really good side scan, But one thing about the Humminbird I don't like, it's not touchscreen and it's not very user-friendly, whereas the lowrance is a touchscreen. It's more user-friendly in my opinion, so I'm just going to utilize them both and, you know, get the most out of them. But that's how I've got it set up here. So I'll go ahead and show y'all how I've got my battery box and my transducers in the back. Okay, this is a little bit of a mess. Like I said, I'm not 100% done with the rigging, but you can see that Dakota lithium, that is only getting used right now for my livescope. So I have the 9-inch hooked up to it, as well as the black box, or the, you know, motherboard, black box, whatever you want to call it. I have it in the rod locker up there. And then that I have a little switch for it. As you can tell, it's not mounted yet. So like I said, this is kind of a work in progress. But so that battery there is for only livescope, only Garmin. And then this battery here and that one, those are just for my trolling motor. And then I have this big AGM battery here for my cranking. And I do have a Sonar Pros harness in here, which is running my 2 lowrances and the Humminbird. I have them linked to my cranking battery. So that's, I just wanted the most amount of power to the livescope, and that right there, that lithium, I'm running like 12.9 volts to it, which is awesome. And then with this, when the motor's running, I'm, you know, 14.5 volts, but even when I come off pad and turn the motor off, I'm still getting like 12.1, 12.2 to my Humminbird and 2 lowrances. So that's, I have plenty of power for these depth finders. But like I said, that's how I've got it set up, and I'll show y'all in a later video once this is all cleaned up. Right now it's kind of a mess, but like I said, this is kind of like a work in progress update video. But I'll go ahead and show y'all my transducers while I'm back here. So we did have to do a little bit of drilling and work back here. So right there, I have my Humminbird transducer mounted to my jack plate on a little transducer shield saver mount. I did have to drill 2 holes in the jack plate, and then I had to drill another little hole on top of this, I'm sorry, this, to make it work. But I mean, it looks pretty clean now that I've got it done, using that for my side scan. And then for now, I just have it zip tied here, and then have running up into my battery box with a little grommet. I kind of want to get a cover, like a plate cover right here, but like I said, this is just kind of work in progress. So that's my Humminbird transducer on that little transducer shield saver, and you can see it's really clean, and it's kind of at an angle, so once your boat's in the water, it levels out once you're in the water. And then on the other side, I have got the lowrance 3-in-1 transducer mounted, and I did have to drill holes in the boat for this. I couldn't put it on the jack plate because they would interfere with one another. So that's my lowrance 3-in-1. And then you can see it's a little bit lower. I'm gonna try to get the camera right. So the one in the background is the Humminbird, and then I have my lowrance right here, so it's a little bit lower. That way they don't interfere with one another. And I can always move the lowrance down. I have it on the top peg. I could always move it down about another 1.5, 2 inches. But so far, I've been out one time on the water and everything worked, but I just got my transducer wire running up, once again zip tied here and going over there. So I don't know how I like that. I mean, it's all right, but it just kind of looks a little sloppy. So I might make some changes to that in the future, but for now, that's how I've got it set up. So everything's hooked up right and working right, but that's my electronic setup. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Like I said, I know it's kind of a work in progress. I mean, everything for the most part is done. Like, nothing's going to be changing here besides an Ethernet cable getting ran. And I do want to get a lowrance 0.1 puck at some point, so I'm going to have to do a little bit more rigging on that. But my battery box is still kind of a mess, and I still have some work to do on my transducer wires. But for the most part, that's how my setup's going to be. So got the Humminbird and the lowrance at the steering wheel, and then up front, got the lowrance and the Garmin. So I'm really looking forward to it. My Lake Master chip's in the mail. My Ethernet cable's in the mail. I do have to get a transducer for the front of my trolling motor. I have to get an adapter. I have an old lowrance transducer I'm going to use, and the live unit, I have to have an adapter. So I've still got some more work to do, but once it's all said and done and completely finished, I'll definitely do an update video, and I'll show y'all the whole layout of the boat. But this is just like a little update on my electronics, because last time y'all saw my boat, it was bare. So now this is how it's going to look for the time being. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you've got a Vexus 2080 or any line of the Vexus boats, leave me a message if you've got any questions on how I did anything. But Other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed this, and make sure you stick around on my channel. So leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully y'all watch my next video here pretty soon. Thanks.